Hi, my name is Candace, aka Picasso baby, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own beach babe. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by to paint with me today. So, as you all know, it is officially summer, and I was going through all of my clothes, like swapping out my winter and kind of spring clothes, and of course pulling out my summer clothes, aka my swimsuits. And that inspired me to create something super fun and super simple for the summertime. So, I am going to be showing you all how to create your very own beach babe painting today. As always, before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you don't miss the next tutorial. So before we get started, I'm going to go over everything that you need to complete this tutorial. As always, I am working with a 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can use the canvas size of your choice. It is completely up to you. You want to make sure that you also have some different size acrylic brushes, some paper towel to dry your brushes off on. You want to make sure you have a water cup as well. And then as far as my paint, I am using the colors Mars Black, Phthalo Blue, Burnt Sienna, Chrome Yellow, Bright Red, and Titanium White. And also everything that I am using is linked down in the description as well. And it's the summertime. It's time to grab yourself a nice little drink. If you're 21 and up, make sure you grab yourself something nice and fruity for a summertime adult beverage. Otherwise, just grab whatever you have on hand. Grab yourself some snacks, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So one thing I'm also going to be working with today that I did not mention, I'm going to be working with a Sharpie because we're going to be drawing this out together. So you can use a pencil, a marker, as long as it's like a black or a lighter color marker. Or if you have a Sharpie on hand, today I have a chisel tip Sharpie, but a fine point Sharpie is fine as well. Whichever kind you have on hand will work. So I'm going to start out by simply drawing out my beach babe. I want her to kind of just be like laying out on the beach. So the first thing I want to do, I want to kind of get the curve of her body as if she is laying out. So I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to spread it really wide from the top of the canvas. And I'm going to actually move over a bit. I'm going to spread it really wide. And right under my thumb, I'm going to make a little mark there. Now what I'm going to do from that mark, and you see how I'm not all the way in either. So if you put your hand from this side, you want to be able to fit your hand from the side of the canvas to that dot. And you want to be able to actually stretch your pinky finger and your thumb down here. Now, if your hand is a bit bigger, you don't have to stretch it as much. But if your hand is kind of smaller like mine, you want to make sure that you stretch it to get the right position. So from that dot, I'm going to create a bit of a curve in, and then I'm going to curve out and down. So I curved in, and then I curved out and down. Now once you have that, what I'm going to do from there, I'm going to start to create her different body parts from there. So I want to kind of create the underneath the chest area, so the top of the swimsuit. What I'm going to do for that, from this line here, I'm going to do a bit of a curved line, not very curved, and I'm going to do another one there. And then to start building just a little bit more, I'm going to come back down here, and what I'm going to do, right where it starts to curve out, I am going to do a curved line over, and you see how it kind of mimics the line here. And then I want to create like she's sitting down, so I'm going to create a bit of a line for her thigh. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to pull that line right off. Now, if you want your thigh to be down lower or a bit up more, it's completely up to you. But again, I'm going to pull that line right off. And then from there, I'm going to come back over to her hip area. And I'm going to kind of repeat this line I'm going to move down just a bit. And then I'm going to curve it into the thigh line. Now over here, I'm going to come down like this. So now, I'm going to pull a little line off there. I'm going to go ahead and pull a line down for her stomach. So you can kind of see how it's forming as far as like her kind of looking like she's sitting down. Now, I'm going to pull a little bit of a line up there. And then I'm going to come up just a bit, or you can start right here to pull like you're pulling like her arm out. So I'm going to start where I ended off that line. But I am going to go in and pull that line up just a little bit more. And then from there, I want to go ahead and like create the actual bra and more of her arm and shoulder. So now that I have all of these pieces here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of create a little bit of a curve right here. So now you can kind of see how her bra area is forming. And from there, I'm going to also go ahead and give her the shoulder. And I'm actually going to make that a little bit broader. There we go. So you can kind of see again how the bra area is forming. And then from there, I'm going to pull a strap down and kind of curve it. I'm going to also pull up a little line for her neck. I'm going to pull a little curve there so I can kind of see like her chest area. And I'm going to come over just a bit. You see how we already had this line here? I'm going to pretty much round this out. So I want to stay in the same area as the shoulder. And just round that right on out. And then you can also close up the bra area. I'm going to pull down another little line as if it's her neck. I'm going to pull curved line as if it's her shoulder. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the strap there as well. Now, if you don't want a bra with a strap, you can definitely leave it without one. But now you have the neck, you have the chest area, bottom, you have her arm over here. And if you want to add hair, like I'm going to go ahead and make a little curvy line there, like she just has some wavy kind of beach hair going on. And once you have it drawn out to your liking, you can go ahead, put your marker up, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to start off by just painting in a layer of her skin tone, and I'm actually not going to mix up any colors just yet. I really just want to kind of get the burnt sienna color on there because I'm going to do another layer on top of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with my bigger brush, whatever big flat brush or round brush you have. You just want to make sure it's bigger to cover these large surfaces. I'm going to start out with just burnt sienna. I'm not mixing anything just yet. And I'm just going to get the skin tone areas completely filled in. So her neck and chest area, little piece of her shoulder there, her entire arm. You want to also make sure you get her entire stomach, and then both of her thighs and her little buns. But yes, we're just going to work on getting all of this completely filled with just burnt sienna. We just want to get a layer of paint on there, and then we will add the next step together in a few. All right, now once you have that first layer of that brown on there, we do want to let that dry completely before we go on and add on your actual skin tone color. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to wash out my big brush really good, and you want to make sure you dry it off. And I want to go into my background, and I'm going to create almost like a sky and kind of water look behind her. So I'm going to start off with some white and a little bit of yellow. And I'm kind of just very lightly going back and forth. If you get some inside of the stencil, that's okay. We'll be able to paint over it. But you do want to make sure you kind of go right around any areas that we painted with that brown. You want to be careful going around those. But I'm only going to do the white and yellow, kind of like, I'm not going to go past her chest area. So if you want to mark right there, you can. Or if you want to take the sun part down a little further, you definitely can. It's up to you. But I'm going to start with just like a little bit of sun up here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side behind her hair. And also in between her body and her arm. And then before I move down to like the water part, I'm going to add a little bit of red to my brush. And I'm going to kind of go back up towards the top and just very lightly brush some of that on there. If you want more, it's completely up to you. But I'm just very lightly brushing some across the top. Still allowing some of my yellow to show as well. And you're going to have little hints of red. You're going to have hints of orange. And that's exactly what you want. So once you have that going on there, what I'm going to do now, I am going to wash my brush, and now I want to go down into blue. So I'm going to start off with white and a very, very small amount of blue. And I'm going to go right next to the yellow, because I want this to be the lightest part. I'm going to do that again, right on this side. And you want to kind of make sure that it matches up. And you might start to get little hints of green or like a turquoise color, and that is completely fine. Now once you have it lighter at the top, you can start to pick up more blue now. So now I'm picking up more blue on my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and get everything else filled in. So just everything else on the sides of her. All right. Now that I have everything completely filled in as far as my background and the skin tone is still kind of wet right now. So before I can add that second layer on, I do want to let it dry completely. I also don't want to add on the color of my swimsuit until I add on that second layer of the skin tone. So for now, we are going to take a quick break. Remember, as always, if you do not want to take a break, you can grab a blow dryer and just blow dry it for a few minutes on a cool setting. If not, go ahead and take a break. Go ahead and grab your drink, and we'll start back on the next step in about 5 to 10 minutes.
3 days later.
So now that our skin tone is completely dry, we're going to go back and add that second layer over it. So you see with this layer, you can still kind of see bits of kind of streaks through it or some of the canvas. We're going to go back and add that second layer. Now, if yours was fine and you like the brown as it is, remember you can always leave it as is. But I'm going to go back in and add that second layer. Now, this time, I'm not just going to do brown by itself. I'm actually going to mix up a different shade. Remember, if you want to go for a lighter tone, you can always do white and a little bit of brown. If you want to go for more of a caramel tone, you can do white, little bit of yellow, little bit of brown. If you want to go darker, you can mix a little bit of black with your brown. But what shade you choose is completely up to you. I am just going to do a bit of a kind of caramel tone. So I am mixing brown, yellow, and a small amount of white right on my plate. And now I'm going to go back over everything. So everywhere where I originally put my skin tone at, that brown, I'm going back over everything. All right, so once you have that second layer on there, everything should be smooth at this point, and you'll see it went on very smooth, almost like when you're doing your makeup, how you put a primer on there first and your foundation just goes on silky smooth. That's pretty much exactly what we did here. So now that I have that on, I want to go back in and get the color of my swimsuit on. So I am actually going to be making a kind of like a pink swimsuit. So I'm going to be mixing up red and some white. I'm going to more of a smaller round brush. You can do a small flat brush, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be as large as the one we were working with, but you want to mix up some white and a little bit of red, or if you are using a different color, you can use the color of your choice. It's completely up to you. But I'm going to go in and get my bikini completely filled in. Now, once you have this your color on and you have your swimsuit completely filled in, if you are fine with where it is now, if you don't feel like you need another layer, you can leave it as is. I want to make sure my black lines are not showing at all, so I am going to add another layer. So I'm going to give this just about 5 minutes to dry. You just want to let it dry completely. That way you can add another layer on top. But again, as always, if you don't want to take a break, you can always grab a blow dryer and just blow dry it on the cool setting. But if you're not going to blow dry it, just take about a 5-minute break, and then we're going to add one more layer on top and add our finishing touches. Hurry up! All right, now that my first layer of my bathing suit is dry, I'm going to go back in, still using a round brush, and I am going to mix up a little more of my white and red to get some more pink, and I'm just simply going to go right back over everything. So same way that I did with my skin tone, I just want to make sure that it's a nice layer of paint, that you can't see any of those lines we started with through it. And I'm going back over the entire bikini. Now, once you have all of the swimsuit covered up again with that second layer, I'm just going to simply wash my brush off, and now I want to fill in my hair. Now for my hair, I'm just simply doing black You can do your hair whatever color you like, and I'm still using the round brush. So remember, you want to get both of those sides that we created and go right down the arm. Now that I have my hair filled in, I do want to go in and add some extra details to the body and also outline it just to really pull everything together. I like to outline it to make sure it's really clean. If you like it as is and you don't want to do an outline, you definitely can skip the outline, but I am going to show you how to add some other details. So this time I'm going to switch to a smaller brush with more of a rounded point, and I'm going to go into my black. And the first thing I'm going to do is right in my bikini top area. So I want to kind of do a bit of a chest line. So I'm just doing a little bit. You can do one curve. If you want to do another one to make it more like a V, you definitely can. It's completely up to you. I'm also going to go in the middle of the stomach and do a little bit of an oval so that it's like a little belly button. And then one line that you might have lost that you want to bring back out, the line where you where it's like the thigh where you can see the legs meet, you can go right underneath the bikini here and just pull that line right off the canvas. But I'm also going to pull a little bit out into the actual thigh. Now everything else is just pretty much outlining. So I am going to go through and get everything outlined with a nice clean line. Still using black paint. You just want to take your time so that you can get the line how you want it. But remember, if you do not want to outline, you can definitely skip this part. All right, so once you have everything outlined, looking really good, really clean. If you want to go in and add any extra details, let's say you want some tattoos, some jewelry, whatever you want to add is completely up to you. I am going to give her a little belly button ring. So I'm going to do right in the center. I'm using the back end of my brush, a little bit of white, doing a dot right in the center, and then a small dot above the belly button as well. If you want it to hang down, like if you want to do little dots going down like it has a hanging jewel, you can do it however you like. But once you finish up and you have it the way you want it, the last thing you want to make sure to do is simply sign your painting. I'm going to sign it right in the corner here, and I'm just doing my initials. And once you have signed it, you are all finished, and you now have your very own beach babe. Thank you so much for painting with me today. I hope you had a great time creating your very own beach babe and that your summer is off to a great start. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications because I have some great stuff coming up in July. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.